Oh, that's better. Now I don't look quite like a bloodless vampire girl.
Throw my postcards in your trunk as I watch you drive away. I'd like to say it matters, but there's another name right
Hi, welcome back. My name's Heather, and this is the Fourth Star Knits, a knitting podcast. My name's Heather. I said that already. I am a middle-aged lady living in Chicagoland with my boyfriend, our 3 sons, and our dog, Beckett. And this podcast is mostly about knitting, but it also tends to ramble on about all kinds of other stuff. I'm going to try to keep the rambling toward the end of the podcast, but as always, no promises. You can find me on Instagram, where I'm getting better about posting as the Fourth Star Knits. You can find me on Ravelry as the Fourth Star. I do not have a Ravelry group for this podcast. I think I've said this before, but the fact that I have like over 1,000 followers right now just like boggles my mind. It did not occur to me that like making a Ravelry group was something that podcasters of my size should do. I don't even know what we do in the group. I suppose if we wanted to do a knit along or something, that might be fun. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in, or if you're just like, already overwhelmed by the amount of like podcaster groups on Ravelry and knit alongs and all that kind of stuff. Because Lord knows there's a lot of other podcasters who are way better at this than I am, who already have that kind of thing set up, and there's lots of fun things going on. So if me setting one up is just gonna be like one more thing, then we don't need to do that. We can just keep this chill and unprofessional. Can you see my ring light right there? The ring light is a necessary evil, unfortunately, because living in the Midwest, as I'm sure this is the case in other areas of the world, it gets dark really, really early. And like today, it never really got light because it's raining. And I can really only podcast during times when my kids are not at home and my boyfriend's not at home, and those times are few and far between. So when the weather's crappy, then I need some kind of light so that I can, I just blinded myself at looking at it. Oh my gosh, why, Heather? Oh. Anyway, I don't know why I was talking about the ring light. Now I've just drawn everyone's attention to it, so you're not gonna be able to not see it for the rest of the episode. Should I try to do something about it? I don't even know. Anyway, welcome back. I have a ton of stuff to talk about. So if you watched my last episode, you'll know that I was kind of having a low moment, and so I indulged in some pretty serious retail therapy in the form of buying enough yarn for not 1, not 2, but 3 new sweaters. And then I bought other stuff too. I bought a lot of stuff. I did. I did do some Christmas shopping as well. So, but yeah, let's talk about the knitting first, like what I've actually been working on. I have no finished objects because I have just been casting on stuff, because I don't know what my problem is right now, you guys, and frankly, I'm just not willing to do whatever therapy is necessary to figure it out. So I'm just gonna keep casting on stuff until I feel better about life. So there's that. So I cast on the Felix Pullover, which is this, and I'll put a bar below with all of the information about that. This is a paid for pattern, and so far I am super digging it. This is going so fast. I'm knitting the 3rd size, which is 48 inches around the chest at underarm, which is gonna be quite a bit of positive ease for me, but I think I'm gonna like that quite a bit. So here's where we're at. I should probably hold this right side up and probably show you the front. Wow, you're on fire today, girl. So there's some cute like eyelet increases here on the raglan, which I think are really sweet. And other than that, it's just like tons and tons of stockinette. So it's been a really good kind of mindless knit. I've been listening to a ton of Audible and, you know, watching podcasts and stuff, so this has been really good for that. So I've split for the sleeves already, and I'm working on the body, and I've got like 2 more inches to go on the body and then the ribbing, and then I can start working on the sleeve. So this is going really fast. I'm knitting this in Litlopi, which is the like Icelandic wool that everybody uses for color work. And this is a super like, this is like woolly wool. It's super like hairy and it's scratchy, and I don't know, I'm really into it. So I've said this before, but like I'm a process knitter. Like it's the textures and the feeling and the like all that stuff is almost more important to me than the finished product. And this, like if your hands are itching for something really substantial, like it's kind of the same feeling that if you're a gardener and it's spring and the ground is starting to thaw and you just like cannot wait for that feeling of like getting your hands in the dirt. That's the kind of feeling I get before I want to work with yarn like this. It's like I just like, it starts getting colder outside, and I don't know, it's like a seasonally tactile experience, if that makes sense. But it like I said, it's very much akin to that spring sort of like you just want to get your hands like in the dirt, you know? So yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm not sensitive to wool. This is actually really rustic wool. I did not knit this. I probably should have said this in the beginning. I did not knit this beautiful piece. This was knit by a friend of my cousin's. My dad's side of the family is originally from Sweden and Norway, and so we still have cousins in Norway. And so someone Venka knew knit this for me because my mom had purchased one, and while they were over there, my mom was like, oh, I'd really like one for my daughter. So I don't know who exactly knit this. Somebody that Venka knows. But it's really cute. I should probably stand up and show you guys because it's pretty cool. People ask me all the time if I knit it, and I'm like, oh, I wish, but no. It's like super long. It's got nice pockets on the inside, and it just kind of like wraps around, and it's super cozy. It's like really rustic yarn. It still occasionally smells like sheep. Not anymore, but like when it gets wet, if I'm outside with it, then it kind of smells like sheep, and then it's got this great closure here. So anyway, whoever knit this did a beautiful job, because they literally copied this other garment that my mother had purchased, like exactly. It's very, very cool. And maybe someday I'll try to figure out what this pattern is, but because it's basically just two big panels, you know what I mean? Like you can probably figure this out, right? And then sleeves that are picked up here. So I don't know. I'll probably have to take this off at some point. It's very, very warm. Honestly, I wear this for, I would say 90% of the winter. Even here, like in Chicago where it gets really cold, like this thing is, it's awesome. It really, I can't say enough about it. This is like my coat, my fall sweater, my spring coat. It's just, this is my out and obviously hanging out around my house, just podcasting and stuff. But I'm gonna get hot now because I'm flailing around a lot and there's ring. See, now that I said that I'm hot, I'm feeling hot. Anyway, so yeah, so the Felix Pullover, I'm liking it. It's going really fast. This is an air and weight yarn, so it's pretty quick. And you could sub probably DK weight in here and still get gauge if you were watching how you were knitting it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So that's gonna come off the needles pretty quick. So a couple of the things I wanted to mention about the sweater. For one thing, I did a tubular cast on, which holy cow, is this so much nicer of a cast on for a collar. I'm super digging it. So that was something cool that I learned how to do that I was really, really excited about. And then the other thing, do you guys know what spit splicing is? I didn't. I was looking on YouTube for the video that I used to remind myself how to do a Russian join because I always forget how to do it. And I came across, oh my gosh, what is her name? Very Pink Yarn. So Very Pink Knits has a tutorial that it just like popped up in recommended videos for spit splicing. And I was like, there's spit involved? I'm in, I need to know. So I learned how to spit splice, which in COVID times, this is probably even more unsanitary than like, I mean, it normally is. But since the garment is for me, and also I've already had the virus, I was okay with trying this. But basically it involves peeling back the plies of your yarn, and this only works with, you know, with animal fiber. And I don't know if it would work with superwash, to be honest, but for woolly wool, this works great. But you basically like peel back the plies of yarn, and then you put it in your mouth and suck on it for a minute so you get it all spitted up. And then you rub it on your jeans or on some other kind of rough surface so that you basically like are twisting the yarns around each other and like felting it all together, and it makes like a perfect join. I was so surprised by how well this worked. So I will link Very Pink Knits tutorial for you in case you're interested. But this was actually a lot easier and a lot smoother of a join than the Russian method. I was, like I said, I was very surprised. It was a little gross, and I did get some yarn hairs in my mouth, but other than that, it was super convenient, and like I said, the join was absolutely perfect and super strong. So anyway, just wanted to share that about spit splicing. So there you go. And that's really the only thing that I have done any kind of like significant work on. I did get a little farther in my, I got this giant basket now next to me where like all my knitting crap just like gets tossed in as I'm going. It's like a black hole of knitted goods. So I think when I talked to you last, I was like here, this is how far I am on the I did some work on this pair of socks that I've been working on. This is the Husband's Favorite socks by Twin Stitches. And I think I was here when we last talked, and so I've gotten a little bit farther. I'm just about ready to turn the heel. So I just need to do that so I can finish it, because once I turn the heel, it goes pretty fast. But I had wanted to wait, because these are for my friend Brian, and as I've said before, I don't know how you guys are with your friends, but I don't pay a lot of attention to my friends' legs, ankles, and calves. And so like, I really wasn't sure like how long to go with this. So I really needed to see like his foot, and I needed to kind of measure from like where, so the sock will come over the top of the boots that he wears. So anyway, I met up with Brian and I did that. And so I'm good to turn the heel. So I need to get on that. So I'm knitting these in Knitted Victory sock, and this is the colorway Owl Post. It's a Harry Potter themed colorway, and an unspecified ball of brown yarn from my stash that I have no idea what this is, but I will tell you there's no nylon in it. So I'm just kind of like working it in like every fourth row to try to stretch out this ball of yarn, because I think when you're making men's socks, you really cannot get away with just one ball of yarn. So hopefully this will stretch it out. Somebody was asking me which set of instructions to use for this. So I was kind of looking at this, and I guess I didn't really understand the question, because I mean, the instructions seemed pretty straightforward to me as far as instructions go, but you really just follow the first set. You know, just start with deciding how many stitches you're going to cast on, and then just kind of go from there. There's 3 sizes here. There's 56, 64, and 72 stitches. I cast on 72 because these are man-sized socks that I'm working on. So anyway, really good pattern. It's free on Ravelry. I'm liking it a lot so far. This will be a repeat knit for sure. So that's that. I got it in my Whimsy Stitches bag. These bags are the best, man. Like, I like other project bags, but this whole like vinyl panel thing here, so I can see what's in here so I don't forget what I'm knitting on, is genius. So the rest of this is gonna be pretty much acquisitions, because like I said, I was shopping. So, let me show you the other stuff that I got for my sweaters first. So other than the sweaters quantity of Let Lopi that I bought for the Felix Pullover, I also bought enough to make the Clotilde cardigan, and I'll pop a photo in here so that you can see what it looks like. It's a super cute cardigan. I'm really excited. So I bought this, and I think I just got this from yarn.com. I don't know why I can't remember. So this is Cloudborne Fibers Wool Bulky Naturals in the colorway Smoke Heather. And I think this is just 100% Peruvian wool. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm sorry, 100% Highland wool. So, but it says made in Peru. So it's just kind of like, it's a warmer gray than the Let Lopi yarn that I bought. But it's natural. It's just the color of the sheep. It doesn't smell as sheepy as the Let Lopi did. When I opened the bag of Let Lopi, it was like sheepy goodness just emanating from it. It was all in a plastic bag. The other thing is that there's little bits of straw in the yarn, which I have just been unabashedly knitting into the garment. Like, I'm sure it's gonna come out in the wash. It's not gonna stick in with the wool, but it just made me really happy to see all of that in there, because I don't know, I'm just weird that way, but it made me really happy. So I just like knitted into the garment basically. So there's little bits of straw all over my Felix Pullover. But yeah, so this is gonna be the Clotilde cardigan. And these, I have a whole ton of this. It's a huge bag because it's a bulky weight sweater. So this actually has to be held double. So pretty excited about that. That is gonna be one big comfy cozy cardigan for winter. So hopefully I can cast that on soon. And then the third, with that order, I also bought some Malabrigo sock yarn because surprisingly, I have not knit socks with Malabrigo before. So I thought, well, I'm just gonna try it. They had this colorway here, which I thought was pretty and very autumnal wintry. I don't know, this is, what is this? 733 no dye lot. Fingering weight, 100% superwash merino wool. So yeah, really pretty. I just threw that in there because, you know, who doesn't need more sock yarn, right? So my big purchase, hold on. Oh my gosh. So much yarn, you guys. Oh my goodness. So I went on Beehive Yarn's website, and she has a couple of kits that you can buy to make the Soldotna sweater. And I think I've mentioned this before, that trying to choose colors that go together causes me a lot of anxiety, probably because I'm slightly blue-green colorblind. So like I have a really hard time telling the differences between blues, greens, and purples, and like tones and stuff like that. So sometimes bad things happen. Like it's not terrible, but it's enough that I don't have a lot of confidence when it comes to choosing colors. So kits like this really help me out. So this is what I bought. So we've got 2 skeins of Dolly, 2 skeins of Cemetery Gates, 1 skein of Emerald City. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not called Dolly. Dolly is the base. Oh my gosh, I'm such a dummy. This is called Foxtails. That makes so much more sense. So Foxtails, Cemetery Gates, Emerald City. This tonal, man, digging that. And then Tapestry, which reminds me a lot of Benta's Grab Your Drink colorway with like the teals and mustards and stuff. Although this one's got quite a bit of like a rusty red in it as well. Like you can see it really well there, which I think, so that's what my sweater is going to be made out of. I can't wait. I might even cast this on before the Clotilde just because I'm really, really excited. And it'll be a nice change. Honestly, I'll probably finish the Felix Pullover and then I'll cast this on, and then I'll cast on Clotilde so that I have like a basic gray sweater to work on, and then like this like explosion of like yummy colors to deal with too. So I also bought Take the A Train sock yarn from her. Oh, look, that's the colorway, Take the A Train. This is on her Bordeaux base. It's 80/20 merino nylon blend, but it's got like really high twist, you can see there. So I think these are gonna make some really, really great socks. So yeah, because again, can you ever have enough sock yarn? I think not. She also sent me, this bums me out so much, you guys, I'm super disorganized. She sent me a little packet with some tea in it and then some adorable honeycomb shape stitch markers. Like they're gold and then the shape of a, I failed geometry, whatever the shape is that a honeycomb comes in. Oh my gosh, you guys. I should probably do my research before I start talking on these podcasts. But anyway, super cute stitch markers, which I remember looking at and thinking, these are really freaking adorable. I can't wait to show them off and use them. I'm not gonna open them until I show them off on the podcast. And then I have misplaced them. I'm sure they are in one of my like knitting areas somewhere, but I just, frankly, I don't have the energy to tear everything apart right now. I dumped out this entire huge bag of knitting down here that I have looking for it. It wasn't there. And then I gave up because, well. And the acquisitions go on because, again, like, I have issues. So I think I talked about on the last podcast, I had seen this Wednesday Addams bag on Instagram and I said something about, oh my, I found the stitch marker. I put them in this bag helpfully so that I wouldn't lose them. I am so smart, I can't even. So she sent me some tea and then these are the stitch markers. Are those not adorable? And I love how they're on this little like black stripy thread. So I'm really excited to use these. I like really simple stitch markers, so these are gonna be great. So yeah, she sent those to me as a sweet little extra. Okay. Gosh, guys. I was on Instagram and I saw this Wednesday Addams bag and one of my followers said, yeah, this is my friend. She has this shop called Lila Styles. So her name is Angelica Mejia. It's M-E-J-I-H, so I think Mejia. And so she's the owner, maker, and designer of Lila Styles. So she also sent me some tea, which is really cute. And this is the bags, or this is one of the bags that she makes. So this is, so if you're a nerd like me, you probably know what The Witcher is. So The Witcher is a show that I love, books as well. And these enamel pins I had gotten separately, but I thought they looked cute on here. So she did this bag, just a cute, simple, like gingham interior there. But yeah, this is a super sturdy like canvas, and then she does this embroidery on the front. So this is gonna take some abuse, which is great. And then I also bought, where be the other one? Oh, it's right in front of me. And then this one, which is a Hermione Granger quote, which I think is super, super appropriate. I'm a really slow knitter without magic. Yes, Hermione, aren't we all? So anyway, I got these two. This one has a really, really cute, on the zipper, it's got a little Deathly Hallows and then a little yarn ball and needles and stuff together. So super cute attention to detail. Like the embroidery is beautiful. Like I love it so, so much. So anyway, and of course it's Harry Potter, so automatically love it, right? So those were a really good purchase because I did need a couple more sturdy project bags because now that I'm out in the world a little bit more, I'm dragging knitting around with me again. So a couple more acquisitions. I know this feels like it's just going on and on and on, but it's been a little bit since I've podcast, so all this stuff has come in over the course of like a couple weeks. So I've never ordered from the Cindy Dyer before, but they're called Flock Dye Works, and I just randomly ran across them on Etsy, and I just loved their colorways. Like, this is so great. This one is called Carnival Nights. It's a fingering weight. 75/25 merino nylon, but like, look at that. I thought that was so cool. And then this was the other one they had that I really like. This one's called Terrarium. So lots of blues and greens and stuff going on. I thought this was so cool. So I got those, and then they sent me 2 little, I think these are 20 gram, like mini minis. I thought that was great. So I've got a couple of tonal minis here that I can do something with. So pretty excited about that. Oh, sorry for the crinkling. I always forget about noises like that, like they really pick up with the microphone. Thanks. All right, last acquisition. So this is a maker from Milwaukee. Her shop is called Crafty Like a Monkey. And the reason why I stumbled upon her shop is because I was looking for firefly themed knitting stuff. And I didn't exactly find firefly themed knitting stuff. But I did, so again, more Harry Potter. It just, I can't stop with the Harry Potter stuff. And I know this is just like a super cliche millennial thing, like, you know, I'm House Ravenclaw and I'm House Hufflepuff. And yes, exactly. I am that cliche. I'm a millennial, albeit I'm an older millennial. So, but still, I'm House Ravenclaw. So I got this bag. This one's got snaps and this cute, like, she does this cute, like, I love little details like this, right? Like, this is a stitch from a sewing machine that I know you can do if you have the right attachment for it, but like, super cute. So I bought this bag from her, and I also did some Christmas shopping, so I won't show the gifts, but I found something really cute for my boss and something really cute for my brother. But yeah, she sent this little stitch marker, and she wrote on here, free stitch marker, stay shiny. And if you're a Firefly fan, then you know what stay shiny means. But she makes these stamped keychain things. So, and they come in these cute little gift boxes. So this is like, and she has a whole ton of different ones. So if you want to find something that's like super cute and sort of personalized for somebody, especially if you have nerdy people in your life, it already comes like all packaged nice. So all you have to do is wrap it. But this is the one I bought for me. And this is a Kaylee quote from Firefly. It says, "Love keeps her in the air when she ought to fall down." And she's talking about the ship, which is Serenity. And if you don't watch Firefly, you have no idea what I'm saying right now. But that quote, "Love keeps her in the air when she ought to fall down," is like, that's kind of like my, well, you could say that about me too. So I love that quote, and Kaylee's one of my favorite characters on Firefly, so I'm really happy about that. So now I can finally put this on my keychain, since I broke my little, I had an actual Serenity keychain for the longest time, but it has been busted, so it's only like half of the ship, so this is gonna replace that. And that is it for acquisitions, as if that wasn't enough, because now I've got like all this knitting to do. It's crazy. I really need to get some things off of my needles. So part of my problem, so let me put this to you guys, okay? So this is something I wanted to ask about. Can we talk about sock knitting and the needles that you use for sock knitting for a second? Let's talk about this. So stand by. Because I'm really trying to find better sock needles for like better DPNs, but also better, because I do use magic loop, especially if there's a pattern involved on the leg of the sock. I like doing magic loop. I don't do 2 at a time, because that is a level of magic that I have not gotten to. So I don't even understand how that's done, but kudos to you folks who are able to do that. So I tried the 9-inch Chaigus, and I hated them. Like I said, I have weird sensory issues. I've said this a million times before. There's something about like And just talking about this almost like activates my gag reflex. That is how like messed up my like sensory input brain parts are. But like something about like holding the little metal things at the ends is just like, I can't do it. I don't like how it feels. I have to have like this much needle to like hold on to so that I'm not like pinching things with my fingers. If you're another person with like weird sensory issues, can we be friends? Because like, I feel like when I talk about this stuff, it makes me sound like an insane person. But like, are you the kind of person like you can't touch certain kinds of paper, or like styrofoam makes your teeth hurt? If that's you, let's talk, okay? So I bought these Chigu lace needles. So I'm gonna try these. But they are super pointy at the end. Like, you could probably defend yourself with these if you were hard pressed. So I don't know how that's gonna work. And then I bought some Addy Turbos, which are also kind of pointy, but not as pointy. Normally I use, and I don't even know what these are anymore. I think I just got them from like, they're probably Knitter's Pride, honestly. But they're super dull at the end. And I don't know if it's because I've just like worn them down, or maybe they were that way all along, I just didn't notice. But like when I'm doing, when I'm trying to like pick up certain stitches and things like that, like I just don't have, I find myself fighting with it quite a bit. And like doing twisted rib with these is just kind of a nightmare. And I do like to use twisted rib a lot on the cuffs. So what I usually end up doing is I start with wooden DPNs. But these are like toothpicks. They're super bendy, which I like, but like I can't knit a whole sock on these. I feel like they're just not, I don't know. And they're super pointy, so I'm always stabbing myself as well when I'm using these. I tend not to stab myself when I'm doing magic loop. But I don't know, those Chigu lace needles, they kind of scare me, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know, what do you think, you guys? Like can you tell me like what is your favorite sock needle and why? Like what is it that you're looking for? Like you're looking for flexibility, or like the way you hold it in your hand? I knit with my right hand, which is this, I can never remember which style. I think it's the opposite of what I think it is. So I think it's English, so I'm gonna say continental. It's probably wrong. I knit with my right hand where I'm like kind of throwing the yarn over. It's the opposite of the one where you kind of just like flick it with your left hand. Wow, I'm explaining this really badly. Yes, so that's how I knit. So I think that's why I kind of need longer needles, because I need to be able to hold the needle in my hand and have something to brace on. That's why like the little Chigus just feel terrible. So anyway, we'll see. I'm thinking I'm gonna try these Addy Turbos first, and we'll see. I think I'm gonna just cast on the second sock of these husband's favorites. I think I'm gonna cast them on with another set of needles and just see what happens. This may result in having two socks that are slightly uneven, but these socks are for a boy. He's never gonna notice, right? Okay. Oh, do you guys like my new hair? I finally got into the salon to like do something about all of this. It was like really super crazy. And it was really, really long, and it was so heavy. It was like giving me headaches and stuff. So finally, it looks decent again. Braved the salon. So anyway, no one cares about your hair, Heather. All right, I had a couple questions from folks, and I am gonna spend some time today catching up on comments. I did read all of the comments, but I haven't had a chance to respond, so I need to do that today now that I have some free time. So other than the question about the husband's favorite socks, I got a question about Midwest comfort food and what a resource would be. So I recommend that you look at the Pioneer Woman, and she is not in the Midwest, but a lot of the food that the recipes that she had are very much in the vein of Midwestern comfort food. Like her recipe for tuna casserole is like quintessential Midwestern comfort food, Salisbury steak, stuff like that. So I will link her below, and I'll link a couple recipes as well. And if you guys are interested, I can share some of my recipes with you too, if that's your deal. If you want to make some casseroles this winter, I can give you guys a hookup. But yeah, the Pioneer Woman, check her out. Lots of really unhealthy, delicious food to be had. So the other question I got was about the name, The Fourth Star. And this is sort of embarrassing. Well, maybe it's not, I don't know. So when I was in high school, my boyfriend, who was my very first boyfriend, he wrote a poem that had the phrase "last 4 stars" in it. And so there was something about the last 4 stars and the 4th star that just became like my thing in high school. So that was like my instant messenger name. It was my email address, like all, you know, that was just my thing. And there was something about that poem that just so perfectly described an essential part of who I am. And that part of me hasn't changed. So I never felt the need to take on a new moniker or try to do something else, or I don't know. It was just, that's something about me that has never changed and probably never will. So that's why you get the 4th Star Knits, which makes no sense to anybody except for me and probably that guy. So there you go. That was probably a weird answer to that question, right? So that was it for questions that I had. Let's move on to just like the chit chat. I'm gonna get myself a sip of tea here. I'm drinking Breathe Easy tea, by the way, because my allergies are stupid. Let's talk about like reading and what we're watching and all of that good stuff, because I really need to talk to you guys about the Outlander series. So first of all, I don't think there could have been a more perfect time to to read the Outlander. So I'm listening to it on Audible, and the reading or listening to this book in the fall in an area where we have a temperate climate, where the days are starting to get shorter, it's really rainy, it's really overcast. It's very much like Scottish Highland weather outside. It's just very it's very in tune with like the mood that the book is trying to set a lot of the time. So yeah, it's been really perfect to just sit in my family room and have a fire going and be listening to this book and knitting my Felix Pullover, and I just am transported to another place. It has been really, really, really good for my mental health. So yeah, I'm super excited. Although I saw a comment from Naomi, the yarn curator, that book 10 is not out, which stresses me out in 2 different ways. First of all, there's 9 books. Holy moly. So there's 9 books. Plus there's like all of these like novellas. There's like 1.5 and then like prequel or some short stories or something like that. 9 books, holy crap. And then there's a 10th book that's supposed to come out that hasn't. So now I need to look and see how long it's been since the 9th book came out. Like, how long have you all been waiting for the 10th book? Oh my gosh. You guys, I cannot go through another Game of Thrones or King Killer Chronicles heartbreak. I can't. I just can't. Anyway, the series is really good though. I'm like blowing through book 1. I'm gonna download all of the rest of them so that I just have them, because I think I'm not gonna read anything else until I'm through. I'm just gonna binge the whole series. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also reading, I'll show you this because the cover is really pretty. So this is Return of the Thief. This was the book I was talking about where I couldn't remember the name Megan Whaler Turner. And so this is the final book in her Queen's Thief series. And so far, it's just okay. It doesn't have a lot of the things that I came to love about the other books. Like the main character, Jen, is just, there's some of his like kind of usual things that make me really happy to read about, but a lot of it is just, and maybe it's because it's been a while since I read the rest of the series, and so I've lost track of like minor characters and what part they play, and I don't know, I find myself just skimming a lot in this book, so I'll be glad to finish it. I'm almost done. I read a good portion of it yesterday while my friend Siri was making my hair look not terrible, and yeah, so I don't know, we'll see how it ends, but this is the final book in the series, so once this is done, that's it. And I think this series was like over 20 years in the making. Yikes, talk about waiting to see how things turned out. Woof. So I'm reading that. I also got the autumn issue of Pom Pom, so I've been looking at this. This is very like Higgy type, reading where you're just flipping through here and looking at all the yummy photos of more things that I don't have time to knit, but inevitably will buy yarn for. So yeah, pick that up if you get a chance. This one's really, really good. There's some really cute patterns in here. I haven't really been watching that much TV. We're gonna finish the Designated Survivor series, but I was kind of upset because I realized into the last season, all of a sudden I was watching and I was like, where the heck is Leor? And like I realized that a bunch of the characters were just missing. So the show was on major network television here in America, and then it was picked up by Netflix. And when it was picked up by Netflix, they didn't take all of the actors with them. So like the people just disappear, and there's a lot going on, so you don't necessarily notice it right at first. But then I was just like, oh, and now I can't like not. It's like the ring light here, right? It's like once it's brought to your attention, it's like you can't not notice it anymore. So I don't know. So just, if you're gonna watch that show, be advised, there's some weird moments that happen once it goes to Netflix, because yeah, characters are just gone or weirdly replaced with no explanation with somebody who's completely different. So very, very strange. I think the most glaring one is that like the vice president just disappears. Like, what the like we just don't see the vice president anymore. Like whatever. What else did I watch? I did watch Enola Holmes, which is a super cute Netflix release. And it is based on the premise that Sherlock and Mycroft Holmes have a little sister who's 16, and it follows her antics, and it's super cute. It's, set in Victorian ages in England. So it's very like that whole, if you're into that whole aesthetic, it will satisfy that itch for sure. But it was just super cute. So I watched that and did some knitting. And then I did download season 4 of The Last Alaskans, which is one of my all-time favorite shows because it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I've been slowly watching that like piece by piece because I think it's gonna be the last season that they have. So I'm trying to like make it last. The other thing I've been watching is, so I've been watching quite a few new podcasts, but the one that really stuck out is actually, I was watching The Yarn Curator, and she did a shout out for this podcaster, and the podcast is called November Woods. And I think her name is Alexandra, and she must live somewhere near me because she was talking about Morton Arboretum, which is in the Chicagoland area. So she's got to be somewhere in this neck of the woods. But so Naomi mentioned her, and so I went to go check out her podcast because she's a small podcaster, and her episodes were so great. I watched 2 of them like back to back, and I think I'm probably gonna put on the rest of them today while I keep working on my sweater. But I'm sure this happens to you guys too, like when you're watching podcasters, like things that the person says just like will really resonate with you. And she was talking about, like, she's a process knitter too, and she said something about how she has really slowed down her knitting process because she really wants to get the most that she can out of the experience with the yarn. And I was like, yes, yes, absolutely, all of that. Like, preach it. That's how I feel. Because I watch a lot of podcasters who are just like cranking out finished objects. And I'm always like, man, I wish I could be that kind of knitter, because it would be really nice to show that kind of productivity. But for me, knitting is not, it's not about being productive. Like, knitting is what I do to avoid being productive. Like, knitting is what I do when like I need a break from the craziness of the day, or when it's just like, I know I have a lot of housework to do, but I just don't have the energy to do it, and I just need to like get out of my head for a minute. So, and I think knitting is something different for every person, but it was nice to watch a kindred spirit in that aspect, because again, I love watching podcasters who are super productive and are churning stuff out, because I'm always so excited to see like what they've knit next. But I think there's a place for those of us too who are very slow knitters, and where we just, you know, we're just all about the process. Like, for me, there are certain times when like I just don't want to finish something. Like, I'll get to within like 10% of being done, and I just won't finish it, because I just don't want to be done with it, which sounds super weird, but you know, that's the thing. But anyway, so I'm gonna link her below, but go check her out. And she has some really, really interesting, like some of her inspiration for the knits that she does. It was very unique. It was super interesting, and I think a lot of you would dig it, so check her out. I've honestly mostly been like just trying to keep up with the house. It's been getting really cold here, so this time of year I spend a lot of time kind of like putting out fires, as far as like our facilities not having heat. Our facilities are really, really old. So I work for a big non-for-profit, just for those of you who don't already know that. I work for a very large non-for-profit in the Chicagoland area, and we have facilities all over Lake and Cook County, and most of our facilities are very, very, very old, especially the ones that are in the city. I mean, these buildings are well over 100 years old. We even have a couple that survived the Chicago fire, so like they're really old. And these buildings have really old boilers. And so this time of year, it's just like going from building to building and like putting out fires with folks that are having issues with their heat, and like trying to connect them with contractors and get contracts going and all this stuff to get things replaced and repaired and whatnot. And it's just, the days are really, really intense and really, really long. And the boys are all still home e-learning, which is like, it's going well, but there are days when it's like, you know, they'll all come out for lunch and they'll eat, and then they'll go back in their rooms, and then I'll go to check on them, and one of them will be asleep. Like, their laptop will be open, and they'll be on a Zoom meeting for, you know, 6th and 7th hour, but they'll be passed out. And on one hand, I can understand, because like nobody wants to be in Zoom meetings for 7 or 8 hours a day, right? Like, our brains are just not wired for that. But on the other hand, I'm like, this is your education. You're sleeping through your education. What are you doing? You know, and it's making them behind. And like right now, we don't have the option to go back full time. So to me, it seems silly to, you know, just go into the building one day a week and have the risk of exposure, plus the disruption, plus just the weirdness of having to go to school under such strict, you know, social distancing guidelines and all of that other stuff. Like, it just didn't seem worth it, you know. Maybe when we move more toward being in school all the time, you know, I might consider it, you know, the risk versus the reward, but for right now it doesn't make sense. So I'm basically, you know, homeschooling my 3 kids and working full time, and it's the busy season, and it's just been really crazy. So been trying to catch up on the house, and if I do make time for anything other than knitting, I'm trying to make sure that we have really, really good food, because that seems to, especially with the boys, that seems to keep everybody in a good place mentally. Like, what is the saying? Like, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Well, the way to a man's mental health is also through his stomach in some instances, is what it seems like, at least in my household. Because if I make good food and there's like good lunch and good dinner and, you know, all that kind of stuff, then people seem a lot happier with everything. So I've really been focused on that. I think this week we're going to try to make paella, which I've never made before. It's like a seafood rice dish from Spain that we really, really like, but I've never tried making it myself. So we're gonna try it. I've been making stuff in my Instant Pot, which I've had for a few years and I never used it because I was afraid of it, which is ridiculous because I spend most of my time around giant boilers, which are essentially the same thing, only could kill you a lot faster. Like, I don't know what my hang up was, but so I've been using my Instant Pot quite a bit and experimenting with cooking. But yeah, that's basically about it. Just cooking and trying to keep my house together and trying to keep my kids moving in the right direction and working and knitting, and that's about it. So thank you for all of your suggestions for including your knitting in your planners. I have been looking into all of that stuff. I think what I might do is in my bullet journal, put together a section for that. That was a suggestion that was made and I thought that was really, really good. So I'm gonna look for some knitter bullet journalers maybe to get some inspiration, but thank you for that. But I was pulling out my planner stuff, and normally every year I have like a whole section for Christmas. I follow the Fly Lady system for like cleaning and like for home management basically, and I have for years. My mom followed it, so like basically the second I got married and had children, like that's what I was using because that's what I had been taught growing up. So she always has like a separate like kind of Christmas planner that you use, and I've integrated that into my Happy Planner. And I was starting to like think about Christmas and think about the holiday season, and it just made me really, really upset because I realized, and I should have thought about this before, but like it really hit home that like this year is going to be really, really, really difficult for Christmas because for one thing, I'm not going to be able to see my parents or my sister. My sister is extremely medically compromised, so my parents have been on hardcore lockdown since March, like not going anywhere really or doing anything. We are really only able to go over there when we can stay outside, but the weather is not going to, I mean, we can't eat outside together on Christmas. This is Chicago, you know? And it just made me like really, really upset realizing that like all of these traditions and stuff that we have are not going to be in place because we just can't go to the places that we normally go. Like normally, like either myself or the boys or all of us are either in a Christmas play in community theater or at school or wherever, or we're helping with a Christmas play or we're attending Christmas play, and there's no community theater right now, so that's not happening. We're not going to be able to go around and see family because of all of everything that's happening with coronavirus, and it just made me really upset. And I was like, how am I gonna plan for this? So I don't know. So when you guys are thinking about like your winter holiday season, like what are you doing to try to make this holiday season like meaningful in light of the fact that like your traditions you might not be able to like have those traditions the way that you normally do? Because man, I was just kind of boggled, and I was thinking probably a lot of what I would do again is going to center around like things we can do here. So like special foods and baked goods and all of that kind of stuff. I started to think about like my Christmas knitting, and it just made me upset to think about knitting for Christmas. So I decided I'm just gonna let that go. I'm not gonna knit stuff for Christmas. But there need to be some other things that I come up with because we can't do the things that we normally do. So I'm gonna have to kind of I have a whole section of like traditions, and I'm really gonna have to take a hard look at that and figure out some new ones, you know? Or like, what if we get into another shutdown? You know, they're talking about locking things down again because the numbers here in the US are so ridiculously high. What if that happens? What, you know? And when you live in this kind of climate, you can't, we were kind of spoiled over the summer because you can eat outside together. You can go to somebody's house and stand out in the yard and chat comfortably and still maintain social distance and all that stuff. I mean, this is already, it's pretty uncomfortable outside because it's so cold and so wet and so rainy. By Thanksgiving, it's gonna be really difficult, and by Christmas it's gonna be impossible. You know, if we have another really hard winter, you can't stand outside for that long. So I don't know. So what are you guys doing? What are you doing for your winter holidays? Especially if you live in the Northern Hemisphere and in a climate where things are really cold and you're gonna be restricted. I'm really curious. Like maybe we can kind of like start like a list together of ideas of things that we can do to replace some of these traditions. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. I'm rambling out loud, but this is really bothering me because this is the time of year when I really start to get excited about Christmas, because I love Christmas. I love all holidays, but I really love Christmas. Like, and I really love all of I mean, we're not gonna be able to go caroling. Like, it just breaks my heart. So, but we have a lot of fortitude, and we will come up with some different things, and we will find a way to celebrate the spirit of these winter holidays. We will. We just need to put some brain power into it, but we will figure it out. I believe in us. We can do it. So anyway, on that note, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks for sticking around if you've stuck around this long, and thanks for coming back all the time and listening to me ramble on and hanging out with me and stuff. I really do appreciate your comments. I read every single one. Even if I don't respond right away, I do read them as they come in, and they make me smile, every single one. So thank you so much for all of those. I hope you're having a good week. I hope you're staying safe and staying strong, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.
This is where my heart divides like yours.